Hello, everybody! Now, welcome to a new What If, known as What If Deku was El Chupacabra? Anyway, hope you enjoy this, and let's get down with the business. Should I say sickness? I don't know. So, yeah, let me give you some context. So, for those who don't know what's an El Chupacabra, or Chupacabra, I don't know why I said El, but the Chupacabra is basically a monster from, it's a monster from Mexico, and it's the Spanish word for goat sucker. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. No, not that kind. It's basically like the vampire for goats, but it has different versions throughout the years. One version is practically a dog with mange. Basically, it looks like a sphinx had a baby with a dog. And the other is practically a reptilian-like creature. Like, it looks like it's built like a human with wings, and it has quills running down the back. Anyway, now let's think. Yes. How does Izuku become said Chupacabra? Well, here's an idea. So basically, when Izuku was 4, he got kidnapped by villains. Unfortunately, his mother didn't quite save him. Unfortunately. Yeah, you're probably wondering, why aren't you, explaining this through acting? Well, it's kind of boring. So I just want to get down with the Chupacabra. Anyway, so we skip to the villains, and they got Izuku chained up. One of them says, "Boss, are you sure this will work?" As a man with a scarred face comes out and says, "I'm sure it'll work." As he pulls up a totem that resembles that of, how should I put this? A chihuahua? Well, it has a dog-like face, basically. Hold on, where is that picture? Yes, it looks like this. Okay. As he notices Izuku is panicking and saying, "Get me out of here! Get me out! Please don't hurt me!" As this man says, "Oh, I'm not gonna hurt you. This little toy will." As the toy's mouth, well, not toy, but Totem's mouth opens by a hinge and bites onto Izuku's hand. It's basically like the voodoo master from Princess and the Frog. I hope that's not weird. And by the voodoo master, I mean the little necklace he gives to the guy in the movie. But it looks like a dog in this. Okay, good. As it bit Izuku, it hurt him very badly. But the man said, "Oh, it's not over yet," cracking his knuckles, and then he slams the totem to the ground, cracking it. And it releases a red gas. Hold on, I'm gonna blow my nose a little bit. Ouch. Sorry. Anyway. So, yeah. As this red gas is absorbed through the cuts on Izuku's hand, Izuku, rebounds or something? You know, where you hear something so loud it makes you flinch backwards. Yeah, like that. But, unfortunately, when this red gas went into the body, heroes came in just in time. As Eraserhead, the Dragon Hero, Endeavor, not gonna say All Might this time, and Mirko, I think? Yeah, that'll do. Coming to see the little boy, not, dead, but they saw him lying on the ground holding his hand as one guy comes out of the door and says, "Hey, who are they?" As Eraserhead, aka Aizawa, grabs him with his scarf and flings him into the wall. As Mirko goes in for a boxing maneuver, but the boss, bad guy, the scientist, said, "Oh, you really think to save this boy? It's too late. Look." As all of them look over to see Izuku, his hand becoming more of a paw. And it's more along the lines of, picture a combination between a human hand and a dog paw. The fingers are more stretched apart from the thumb being more close to the wrist, and it walks on its toes. As both of Izuku's hands become claws, his clothes get ripped apart, and on his back he grows quills all over him. Some bits he gets fur, others not. He grows a long lizard-like tail, and his face, it's a combination between a Gila monster and a Chihuahua, via by the ears and teeth of a Thylacophilus, yes, aka a saber-toothed marsupial. And if you don't know what I mean, picture a possum with a saber-toothed cat's head. Done. Okay, so as they saw the little boy, aka Izuku, become this monster, Izuku in his mind felt bloodlust. His eyes looked soulless as he let out a mighty roar that sounded like a laugh of a hyena. And the man said, "Chupacabra, feast on the pesky heat." And then, Izuku attacked him instead, biting down on the neck and draining the blood from him, leaving only a very skinny corpse behind, because he just drained out all of the blood. As the heroes were in shock, they kidnapped this kid just to make him into a villain's weapon. As Endeavor says, "Don't worry, I'll take care of this," cracking his knuckles, and he basically lets out a humongous flame tornado thing towards Izuku. But Izuku just takes it during this bloodlust rage. He attacks Endeavor's arm by a bite, almost completely draining him of blood, until Aizawa grabbed him by the head, forcing the jaws to open. As Izuku just grabbed Aizawa and then threw him to the ground, breaking his back. But as Izuku is now full of blood, he snaps out of it. Unfortunately, he cannot talk. As he notices what's going on, he looks at his hands, which are now covered in blood and have black claws on them. As Izuku sees what he has done, he runs off, breaking through wall after wall. As some of the heroes try to chase after him, until some realize that it's useless of chasing after him. So, yeah. Izuku spends his time in the forest now, near UA. Though he had no clue UA was practically next door. He starts behaving more like an animal, or the chupacabra. As he makes his den, and I'd imagine him like secretly going into the city and getting all my toys. I don't know why, but I just imagine this like terrifying dog-like beast that drains the blood of goats and people alike. And it just carries an action figure in its paws or or jaws, and just places it next to it as it sleeps. I don't know why. But yeah. Let's say 10 years get past, and Izuku has not forgotten that he was human, but he has been more animalistic than ever. Full on stalking his prey without making a noise. On purpose. Because, yeah, there are accidents. Yeah, hunting down deer, few dogs, and mostly chickens. As Nezu in UA has a suspicious feeling that there's more going on in those woods. As he sets up a meeting with all the heroes that work there. All Might, Aizawa, and let's say Endeavor worked there as a coach. Because why not? This is my what if. I can do whatever I want. But, yeah. As Aizawa says, Nezu, is this meeting about... As Nezu says, no, Aizawa, you're not getting a raise. As he just sighs and says, that too. But is this about the chupacabra incident? As Nezu's ears go downwards and say, I'm not sure. But I get the feeling that there's more in the woods than just deer. We need to have a search party there. All Might, As All Might looks up and says, yeah? Nezu explains that he needs him to search under every tree, and basically if something attacks him, run. As he looks over to Aizawa and says, and you, Aizawa, you're gonna need to swing from tree to tree just in case if this chupacabra thing doesn't know how to climb. As Aizawa gets a slight flashback of what happened to the poor kid. Aizawa says, okay, but on one condition, my class comes along. As Nezu says, I like what you're thinking. Hold on, I'm gonna blow my nose again. Ay, ay, ay. Not sure if I'm sick or not. As Endeavor yells out, oh, why am I last? As Nezu says, well, you are a person with fire. We're going into the woods. I'm gonna need you to stay in the field just in case that chupacabra thing decides to run out. As Endeavor says, oh, you got a point. As everyone leaves the as everyone leaves the room, except for All Might and Nezu, as Nezu says, so All Might, I've heard you got a new successor. As All Might says, yeah, young Bakugo has been training well to be a successful user of One for All. As Nezu says, good. Don't disappoint me. As All Might says, okay, I just got chills up my spine. Yeah. As the search begins, and Aizawa goes to the west, All Might goes to the north, and Endeavor stays put. But the class split up in every direction, some staying, some going in every direction. But we cut back to Izuku, who's just killed a deer, draining the blood out of it and saving his body for later whenever he gets hungry. And he picks up on a scent which smells familiar, but it's a not good one to him, I think. Yeah, that sounds right. As Izuku says, intruders in my forest? They're gonna be sorry. As he gets ready to defend his home. As Aizawa starts swinging from tree to tree, he hears a familiar howl. That sounds a combination of a hyena and a coyote. Yeah, and Aizawa freezes at this and says, show yourself. As As Aizawa is getting ready for a fight, he feels something breathing down his neck. As he slowly turns around, he sees the chupacabra ready to strike at him until a huge explosion comes behind it. And it's Bakugo. And Bakugo in this what if was actually good friends with Izuku. And yeah, he felt so sorry. He felt so guilty for not being able to save his friend. And by that I mean he wasn't there to protect him at the time. He devoted his life to train up to be a hero, saving people in need, including other heroes. As Bakugo says, "Hey Tish, you okay?" As Aizawa says, "Young Bakugo, what have you done?" As this chupacabra turns around to see Bakugo. Well, it's obviously Izuku. But as Izuku turns around to see Bakugo, he just gives him a face that says, "No way." As Izuku's ears droop down in a sad way, Aizawa grabs the chupacabra by its snout, grabs Izuku by his snout and flips him over, returning the deal of breaking the back. As Izuku tries to get up after the injury, he sees another person coming out of nowhere, and it's Shoto Todoroki. And yeah, he basically freezes the lower part of this hound of hell, as he calls it. Basically making ice gauntlets on its feet, making it impossible for it to get up. Yeah. As Todoroki makes an ice knife, a knife made out of ice, and says, "Let's finish this thing. We're here right now." As Aizawa says, "Todoroki, stop." And it's right at where it almost touches the skin. As Izuku opens his eyes, and yeah, he gives off a sad whimper, like that of an upset puppy. And I can already hear the noise right now. Oh god. Sorry if I'm getting a bit off track. It's just, now that I think about it, does anyone get upset whenever they hear a sad puppy? Because I do. It's heartbreaking. Truly. Anyway, back to the what if. As Aizawa basically tells Todoroki to stop, Todoroki melts the knife and says, "Why? This thing has been terrorizing the local wildlife, depleting the chickens." As Aizawa says, "That thing that you were gonna kill was human before." As everyone there is in shock except for Izuku. As Izuku thrashes around, howling, getting bad memories of what happened when he got kidnapped. In his mind, he's going, no, not that, no, not that, just make it go away. As the one kid who can talk to animals, crap, I forgot his name. Is his name Soja or something? No, I'm just gonna call him Animal Dude. Yeah, Animal Dude. So the Animal Dude walks over to Izuku and says, hey, you okay? As Izuku says, okay, listen, you gotta get me out of here. I'm being held by my own will. Can you help me, please? As Izuku basically does the puppy eye thing. Yes, because I pictured the chupacabra being a dog-lizard combination with quills. And basically being able to do what a dog can, including the puppy eyes. Because why not? As Animal Dude says, guys, I think it just told me to let it go. Or something. As Todoroki says, what? No, this thing attacked my father. He told me that it bit him on the arm. Though I hate him. I still gotta keep him alive. So, I'm ending this thing's reign of terror once and for all. As Todoroki was gonna stab Izuku in the chest, Izuku grabbed Todoroki's hand with his jaws and threw him into a tree. Though he did not apply enough pressure to basically make it look like a blood fountain, he did give it enough pressure to leave a lot of bite wounds on it. As Aizawa says, what I'm trying to say is this thing was a young man before. It appeared like a small kid, green hair. His hand must have been in the middle of the transformation. I don't know how he did. I don't know how the villains did it. But they turned this poor, innocent boy into a monster. As Izuku hears the words monster go on in his mind, the whole monster, slow motion thing, yeah? As he basically just covers his face and just does the puppy cries. And by puppy cries, I mean the whole thing. You know, puppy whine. As the Animal Dude, to him, it sounds like absolutely human crying. As he says, hey, you okay? As Izuku says, I just want to go home, okay? I miss my mom. I want to go home. I miss my friends and no one can even understand me. Wait. As Izuku lifts up his head and says, can you understand me? As Animal Dude says, yeah, that's my quirk. I can talk to animals and control them. Why? As Izuku says, I haven't had someone to talk to in a long, long time. Yeah. As this whole conversation is going on, Izuku's just barking, hissing, and hyena laughing. But to the Animal Dude, it actually sounds like human speech. Yeah. And so, we start now. Izuku's now in a cage. And the ice has melted off his legs. He's now pacing back and forth on all fours in the cage. And is heading to the principal's office in UA. As Nezu says, I see, you caught the legendary chupacabra. As Aizawa says, yeah, Nezu? As Nezu says, yes, Aizawa? We're gonna have to have a talk. As Class 1A members, just leave the room, knowing that sound of his voice, basically telling them to get out of here because they need to talk in privacy. Except for Izuku, since he's in the cage. As Aizawa says, listen, this chupacabra thing, I've seen it before it became this. As Nezu says, huh? His ears perked up. As Aizawa explains how this monster was a human child experimented on. And, yeah. As Nezu is kinda appalled at this and saying, you humans will find anything and anyone to experiment with. And Aizawa says, oh, I'm sorry. As Nezu says, no, it's okay. What are we gonna do with him? As Aizawa says, I don't know. We go back to Bakugo, who's now walking to his dorm. Those words going off in his head, as in, like, it was a little boy with green hair. A little boy with green hair. A little boy with green hair. As Bakugo keeps thinking of those words. Little boy, green hair. Little boy, green hair. As before he goes to sleep, it finally clicks. Then he yells out, the monster is Deku? As, yeah, he basically goes on a mission to find him. And they find him, how should I put this? In his own room, in a way. It's basically like a dog's room. You know, dog bed, dog bowl, dog treats, yada, yada, yada. And he says, hello, Deku? You in here? As he hears puppy whines in another room. And he looks over to see this humongous creature, the chupacabra, with his ears drooped down, crying. As Bakugo says, hey, Deku. As Izuku's ears perk up and turns around with a look in his eyes as in a shocked way. As in if it's to say, you recognize me or something? As Bakugo says, yeah, I figured out it was you. Listen, I'm sorry that I couldn't help you. If only I was there to help you. I could have. If I was there, none of this would have happened. As he starts, like, covering his face and almost crying, as he says, if only I was there to help you. To help Aunt. Ever since you've been taken, I've been training myself to help people that need true help. So I ask you, I'm sorry for not being there. as Izuku basically goes down on all fours at Bakugo. And it practically looks like a stalking maneuver. As Bakugo says, I know, you have every right to be angry at me. Just get it over with. As basically Izuku pounces on him, but gives him a hug. As if to say, thank you, old friend. Until somebody walks in and say, excuse me, I'm here to give you a walkie. And yeah, they noticed that it was, let's say, who could it be? Kamui Woods. Let's say he works in UA as well. As carpenter. I don't know why. No, wait, scratch that. Cementus. Yeah. He acts, it's his time to walk the chupacabra. And he's stuck there frozen to see the chupacabra hugging a person that it has never seen before. And that's where I'm going to leave it off. Sorry, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want more. But you have a choice. You can subscribe or not. You can like or dislike. I don't care. You do you. Anyway, goodbye. Adios, amigos.